So I'm not sure if you remember this or not, but back when the PlayStation 4 was first announced, one of the actual features Sony was going around promoting was the fact that players can now use their real name IDs. And so this was a story featured on all the major gaming sites. Sony said this feature was designed to bring in casual gamers. I think probably its real intent was so that you could link up with sites like Facebook and not have to kind of embarrass yourself depending on what your gamer ID is, and then that way your real friends could find you if y'all were playing on the same system. Now, me personally, I would never want to use my real name as my gaming ID, but whatever. Some people do. Sony promoted it, Sony encouraged it, and now they're banning people for it. So in less than 24 hours, a post has went viral on Reddit from a user whose name is Jihad. Now, I know that maybe your first instinct is to think ISIS, suicide bombers flying jets into towers, which, by the way, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, just saying. But for many people around the world, jihad doesn't mean holy war. It's actually a fairly common baby name in some parts of the world, or it has been at least in the past. And so the meaning for a lot of people is the name means striving, applying oneself, and persevering. So different names have different meanings to different people. It's just like, I believe the swastika in India or somewhere like that is actually like a peaceful symbol. And so anyway, not everybody sees the word jihad as meaning a holy war. And not even all scholars agree on the meaning. And just to show you how popular this name was for babies at one time, look no further than to babycenter.com. I'm sure a very popular website that you all frequent on a regular basis. But you can see how jihad was actually popular, right up until 9/11. And then people decided, well, maybe that isn't the best name for my kid. So back to the main story here. Here's a guy that's named Jihad. It's his literal name. He even posted pics of his passport to prove it was. And so he's had a PlayStation Network account since the early days of PlayStation 3, and he's been using this name, iJihad. And so he's purchased a ton of games over the years. He says he's never cheated. He's never even talked to people online. But he ended up pre-ordering Overwatch a couple of months ago. And then 3 days after the game came out, 3 days after he had been playing this game online, he got a message saying he had been banned. And of course, whenever you're banned, as we've talked about in the past, that means you lose everything. All those games that you digitally purchased that you think you own, you don't own those games. Whenever your account is banned, it's shut off. You can't even play those games offline, and they don't give you a refund. So he sent customer support a message, which anytime you hear people talking about having to deal with Sony's customer support, you need to grab your popcorn. Sony first responded with, "I understand your account has been suspended as your online ID has been deemed inappropriate. In this situation, due to the fact that you have owned the account for some time and you've purchased content, we are prepared to amend the account online ID to another acceptable ID of your choice." And so then they gave him the instructions for submitting other IDs for maybe other gamer tags that he would have, used or preferred, which has left a few people scratching their heads because they're like, wait a minute, so you can change your name on PlayStation Network? Sony can do this? What's up with that, Shu? But so then he responded to them. And then another PlayStation support agent responded back and said, you know what? We've changed our minds. We've decided to not let you change your name, and the ban is going to be a permanent one. Here's what they said, quote, "After reviewing your case, I can advise that your SEN account was created in breach of our terms of service due to your choice of online ID. In other words, due to what your parents decided to name you at birth 26 years ago, because the guy is 26 years old. And so they have deemed that name inappropriate or offensive. And so as a result of this, the ban placed on your account will remain in place. They then advise him to start a new account and this time follow their terms of service, which of course means that he's going to be starting from absolute scratch, no trophies, no history, no games. And so this is where the story currently sits. I don't have a happy ending for you. Sony hasn't come in to save the day just yet, and it's blowing up all over social media. And if Sony is smart, they'll try to offer the same thing that they originally offered at the very least and allow this guy to change his name and keep all of his content that he's already purchased. But if I'm this guy, I'd sue Sony's ass. Sony has promoted using your real name. If his ID was against the terms of service, why did the system let him create it in the first place? And why only now, after all of these years, did they decide to ban him? You know, after they've got a lot of his money from him buying a lot of games. Why did they offer him an option, but then decided, no, we're just going to take that away? And basically stealing all those digital goods that the guy had rightfully paid for. Making this guy start over and lose everything he had sounds a lot like extortion. So I would be talking to a lot of law firms if I was this guy. I don't think he's in the wrong at all, and I still don't get why Sony is a decade late on letting you change your name. Pretty much any website that I go to, I can go change my name if I want to. Lots of people pick names that whenever they're younger, maybe they have new meanings over time, or something that they don't even associate with anymore. I was reading where a teenager made his name, it had 420 in the tag, and he made it years ago, and now he doesn't even smoke weed, so he doesn't even have anything to do with that sort of culture anymore, but he's stuck with that ID. Or, some people maybe create names based on popular game characters. And some of those franchises may actually be dead now, may not even be coming back. So either way, Sony support continues to lend credence to the belief that their customer service is complete dog shit. And all you got to do is go to the support forums to see plenty more examples. So post below, what do you think? What should have happened in this case? And is Sony to blame, which is like the way that I see it? Or is Jihad to blame? Should he be to blame because his parents named him that and because he decided to use his real name as his gamer tag? If you want to read more, links down below. That does it for me, The Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn.